I stole your high potion. So this is Bannon. Bannon is the leader of the terrorist group that Locke and Edgar want Tara to join, the Returners. And Bannon wants Tara to join because Tara has weapons of mass destruction. She can light people on fire with her mind. If you thought I was being flippant in the previous video, I wasn't. That's literally what Bannon wants. That's all he's interested in, is can Tara burn my enemies alive? I mean, his enemies are an evil empire. But it's difficult to trust Bannon, because he looks like a crazy mountain man. He looks like your crazy survivalist uncle who buys macaroni and cheese by the case and covers his face in dirt, so when the commies come, they won't be able to find him. Like, a hairbrush ban, have you heard of one? And Bannon is a pretty important supporting character early in the game. So here's one of those situations where I said Final Fantasy VI is the first game in the series that tries to be a little more cinematic. And this is one of the examples of that. Tara's trying to come to grips with, do I help these terrorists? Do I go back to the Empire? She doesn't have any memory. She doesn't know what she's going to do. And she's really confused. She's trying to put her life together based on very little information. And everything is weird and scary. And there's a secret passage over this way with some stuff in it. And we have to make a choice. Like we, the player, have to make a choice on Tara's behalf whether to help the Returners or not. And the game translates this into a mechanical decision by... We need to talk to all of our party members before we do much of anything else, I think. Was there treasure down here? No, just an inn. We don't need an inn. We're fine. Actually, I think we might need an inn. I don't know if her... Anyway, I don't know. But we're going to have to make a decision with Tara about whether to help the terrorists or not. And it's a storyline decision. It's a decision you can approach from a standpoint of, what do I, the player, know at this point in the plot, and what kind of decision would I make based on the information available? You know there's going to be good guys and bad guys, but looking at it from Tara's perspective, it's a really scary decision. And so we got here and we talked to Bannon, and he's going to ask us, will you help us in our fight? Will you burn my enemies to death, essentially? I mean, he puts a little more flowery language on it, but we're going to say no to him. If you say yes, all the party gets together and has a meeting around this table, which leads me to a scene I never knew existed until the advanced version. Because if you look on the table right here, there's a scrap of paper. So let's toss it in the trash. We'll just get rid of this. There we go. We don't need that laying there. I never knew that piece of paper existed until I played the advanced version. But if we say yes to Bannon, we have a strategy meeting at that table, and he's like, huh, where did my plans go? I had them set right here. But we're going to say no to Bannon. We're not confident in our abilities. How can we be anybody's ray of hope? We don't know who we are. We got amnesia. We've got this fire spell, but it's not as powerful as the crossbow that What's-His-Jones uses. But the game translates the story decision. First of all, you get a different scene based on what you tell him. Instead of the strategy scene, we're going to get this scene where Tara... I mean, she's lost. She's by herself. She doesn't know what to do. But circumstances are dire. The Emperor has just taken over South Figaro, and like, it's hit the fan now. Like, Tara is going to be forced into this choice now. She wasn't able to say, okay, I'll help you, what's next? So now, she's forced into it. So Locke is leaving the group now. We're going to send him back to South Figaro. He's a burglar by trade, so we're going to send him into South Figaro, infiltrate the place, find out what the haps is. He's gone. He left the wrong way, the exit's in the other direction, but whatever. As for us, we're going to make our way back to Narsh. Narsh right now is still useful, or I'm sorry, they're neutral in the whole Empire versus Figaro thing. And Bannon wants to know, can we use this Esper? Like, we've got this witch with us. She's joined our party. She can light people on fire with her mind. can we go to Narsh? Can we, if we take Edgar with us, can we negotiate an alliance with Narsh? And if we do that, can we get this Esper on our side as well? And so what we've got mechanically here is our first really important relic. I mean, we got some good relics, but this Genji glove. First of all, oh, they unequipped Locke. They took Locke's stuff off. I wasn't expecting them to do that. I'm going to work under the assumption that after I equip these characters, they're not going to unequip them when we go back to Locke later. So I'm going to leave that in the inventory. This stuff we're not going to put on yet. We're going to give her the Genji glove, and I think that's it. I think that's all we want to give her. So now she's got a weapon in each hand. That's what the Genji glove allows you to do. If we had said yes to Ganon, yes, Ganon, don't help Ganon. If Ganon asks you for help, say no and then stab him. Ganon is a dick. So just putting that out there. Is that what I want? Yeah, that looks pretty good. We would have got a relic called a Gauntlet, which allows us to. It foregoes our shields, so whatever weapon we have in our main hand does extra damage. But the Genji glove lets us equip two totally separate weapons. The basic idea is the same. You're doubling your damage output either way. But with the Genji glove, you get the benefits of two separate weapons, which will be important later on because we'll start getting weapons that have different properties. So her damage output is quite a bit better now. Edgar's blind, but we don't care about that because auto crossbow can't miss anyway. So Banon is a guest character. You can tell he's a guest character because we didn't get to name him for the party. He just hopped in. Guest characters usually only stay with the group for one or two scenes. Like Banon will only be with us for the river, pretty much. And they're not super important to the plot. It's actually very good that we're encountering these guys here. Actually. I'm glad we ran into them. That's going to be important later. Ah, Sabin, you're so good. So good. But Banon, the way they... Because this dungeon is not really a dungeon in the traditional sense. Did we forget to put Banon... We forgot to put him in the back row. We're not going to have the opportunity until the raft comes to a stop to do that, to fix that either. That's fine. We'll just keep healing him. But it's basically just a battle gauntlet. It's just a series of battles that they throw at you. And if Banon dies, you have to restart. And I don't think we saved beforehand. So he really needs to be in the back row. But they gave him ability that he can pray for your whole party and heal them. So as long as his prey keeps coming out, we'll be in good shape, I think. These guys have a fireball ability that they will throw at me that I really don't want to get hit with. And I don't think being in the back row will shield Banon from that. But essentially, he's got this prey command, which is a full party heal for everybody. Alright, this is our first save point here. We should have used the save point back at the Returner's hideout. We'll put Banon in the back row. We'll pop a save here. And then at the second save point, we're going to put Terra in the back row as well. But I like how this dungeon is structured. It's not a dungeon in the traditional sense. It's just a gauntlet of battles. You don't have control over where you go. You don't have access to your menu on the raft. So you kind of have to use combat to heal as well. It's an interesting idea, and we'll see a few more dungeons like this throughout the game. They do this same kind of situation in a couple different ways through the course of the game, which is interesting. But for now, they start you out with an easy one where they give you a character with a full party heal that he can use for free every single turn. I think we want to go... Oh, you don't think we wanted to go up. We wanted to go left. Yeah, we just going around in circles there. So there was a trick that Nintendo Power told you to do to power level your characters. You could literally, if you had the command window on Remember, like I do, so Banon always selects Prey, you can tape the button down here, ride this raft in circles forever fighting these guys, turn off your TV, leave your Super Nintendo on, come back a week later, and you'd have level 99 characters. That's a bad idea. Don't do that. It's a stupid, stupid idea, because you miss out on all of the Esper level ups you'll get over the course of the game. Again, I think it's dumb to, like, obsess over Esper level ups. Like, some players of this game will literally run from every battle until they get Espers, the Espers that they want, play the whole game at level 1 or as close as they can get to level 1. Actually, I think it's impossible to ever actually get level 1. The lowest level is level 3. Terra starts at level 3. And then when Bannon joins the party, for this scene, he joins at one level lower than Terra. I think that's how it works. We'll check at the save point here. We'll see. So you can get Bannon to level 2, but I think that's as low as possible. Yeah, see, Bannon's a slightly lower level. We're going to put Terra in the back row. So not everybody's in the back row for this boss fight. Yeah, don't obsess over the Esper level ups. It's fine to get what you... But you do not want to level 90 levels without Esper stats. You will miss out on a lot of power that way, especially characters that can make use of magic power, like Terra. By the end of the game, if you raise her magic power, she's an incredibly formidable character. And so we're coming up on our next boss here. Good old recurring villain, Ultros. I don't remember in this version, do they keep it as Ultros? Because in some games, they translate his name as Orthros. And I think it might be Orthros in this version. I know it's Orthros in Final Fantasy I, Dawn of Souls. When you fight him, I know it's Orthros. When you fight him in Final Fantasy XII, it's Orthros. When he shows up as a summon in Record Keeper, it's Orthros. But I think for the GBA version, because Ultros is such a beloved name of people who play this game specifically, and he's such a beloved character, I think they went back in this version only and made him Ultros. But I guess we'll see whether or not I remember correctly in a minute here when he actually attacks the raft. Also, just gorgeous sprite work, just in general in this game. This game came out very late in the Super Nintendo's life cycle, so they were able to make use of all the graphical craft that they learned. I almost said cruft. It's definitely not cruft in this game. A lot of excellent use of transparency and Mode 7 effects, a lot of excellent use of color, excellent use of... Like, it's still a tile-based game. It's made out of individual 16 by 16 pixel tiles, but... Yeah, they went back to Ultros, but only this version. Other versions of the game, they didn't. Everybody's in the back row, so his tentacle attack won't murder any one person in particular. And then we still have Bannon to heal us. If we hadn't put Terra in the back row, she risks getting one-shot by his tentacle attack whenever she casts fire at Ultros. And then when Sabin attacks him, he retaliates with... Oh, he didn't retaliate, huh? Okay, that's gross, Ultros. Yeah, there it is. There's the tentacle attack. That's scripted to come out. Because he's like, oh, a cute girl. I want to wrap my tentacles around her because this is a Japanese game. So that tentacle attack is hard-coded into the fight. And if she's in the front row, it's pretty powerful. That was half the damage it was supposed to do, because she's in the back row. It's a 50% damage. Sabin usually can survive the attack even if he's in the front row, because he's got a lot more health at this point in the game. He comes at a higher level, he's got more hit points. Why Ultros decides to counter a magic spell with ink? I don't know, because darkness doesn't matter for Terra. She doesn't need to be able to see to burn you alive. She can use her mind. That's why everybody wants her on their side. One more tentacle hit and Edgar would have eaten the dust there. So you see, this game, the bosses can be a little tricky. The bosses are almost all scripted in an interesting way. Their AI patterns are a lot more sophisticated than just, here's a list of stuff the boss can do. So if you know what the boss is going to do before the fight, you do a little bit of preparatory work, a lot of the boss fights in this game go a lot smoother, which is what moved Terra to the back row. Even though she's doing the bulk of her damage with regular attacks with that Genji glove. So Sabin has abandoned us. He's going for a swim, whatever he needs to do, man. And now we come up on one of this game's coolest innovations that I always thought was going to be revolutionary in the RPG genre, but it ended up not. Like, I thought if anything in a Final Fantasy game was going to become like the new standard, I thought this was going to be the new standard. This scenario split, where we've got all of our characters splitting up in a lot of different directions, and they're all going to experience different stories along the way. And you get to pick which order you experience the stories in. I always thought this was such a cool idea. But we'll get to it in the next episode of Final Fantasy VI. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Shoutouts to Eurixia for sponsoring this video, and to everybody who helps make my channel possible by supporting me on Patreon.